Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. We're excited you have decided to join our children's ministry team. I would like to take a few minutes to explain why we do what we do, and then hand the rest of this training video over to Luke and Dan. Now, Involved Church exists to involve people in an authentic relationship with Jesus. It's our passion and desire to see people grow in their relationship with Jesus. And this includes both parents and children. Now, in Deuteronomy chapter 6, God told the nation of Israel to pass on their knowledge of Him when He said, "Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and with all your soul, and with all your might. And these words that I command you today shall be on your heart. You shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, and when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise." Now, we believe it's important that we take every opportunity we can to teach our kids. That's why you will hear us say, Involved Kids exist because every moment with a child is an opportunity to develop their relationship with Jesus. Our process for training is simple. Teach kids the Bible, live by example, and create relationships with parents because parents have the greatest influence in their kids' lives. So it's our desire to connect with parents and encourage them to train and raise their kids in a way that honors Christ. So you're a part of that process. You can make a huge difference in the life of a child. Thank you for joining our team. We look forward to working with you and seeing all that God is going to accomplish through Involved Kids.
We are excited that you are going to be a part of the Involved Kids ministry team. I'm going to talk with you today about a crucial area regarding Involved Kids. We want to make a great first impression when we're talking with parents and their kids as they interact with Involved Kids. So we know from feedback that our Involved Kids ministry is highly effective. Both the kids and the parents enjoy it a lot. It's up to each volunteer to have in the back of their minds the big picture. Our desire is to help people follow Jesus. We have a very short window as Involved Kids volunteers, which can be used to interact with the parents of the kids. And it's our responsibility to use that window to build trust and confidence that their child is not only safe and having fun, but is also learning biblical truth that will stay with him or her for their entire life. So, of course, the most important thing that you can be doing in order to have a spiritual impact on the kids and leave a lasting impression is to make sure that you yourself are growing spiritually. A big piece of that is praying before you volunteer. You could maybe even consider praying with someone you're working alongside and asking that God would use you to impact the lives of families. The first major opportunity that we have to leave a good and lasting impression with parents is when they check their kids into Involved Kids. There are two very important things that we would ask of you as an Involved Kids volunteer at this point. First, if you don't know the family or the child, make sure to introduce yourself and any other volunteers that will be working with their child. Second, and especially if you sense any uneasiness with the situation, take a minute to explain to the parents and child what you're planning on doing that day, including activities, the lesson material, and any singing. If you can do those two things, it will go a long ways to building trust with parents and giving them the sense that their child is in good hands. The second opportunity to interact with parents is upon checkout. As the parent comes with their checkout sticker in hand, make sure to say something like, "Hey, I just wanted to tell you that Ali did great today. We learned about the Israelites in the desert and the bronze serpent." Make sure you ask her about it and be on the lookout for the email summarizing this lesson this week. Another way that we can show parents that we truly care about them and their families is to reach out to them midweek. Maybe you could take an opportunity to invite a family over for dinner, or if you're a mom and you have kids of your own, you could schedule a play date with another family. That would go a long way towards building relationships with the entire family and helping both parents and kids be more comfortable as you interact with them on a Sunday morning.
Hi there, my name is Dan and I'm one of the leaders for our Involved Kids program. Now that Ryan and Luke have done a great job of casting our vision for Involved Kids, I'm going to walk through some important details of how we accomplish this goal while keeping a safe and secure environment for our kids. One of the difficult truths of our culture today is that child abuse occurs in all kinds of forms by the most unsuspecting of people and in the most unlikely of places. As we get started, I'll warn you, some of this information can be a little dry, but it is incredibly vital to a successful and healthy ministry. All of this information and more is also contained in our safety policy, which you should have already received as part of your volunteer application packet. So please keep a copy of that for future reference. If you don't have a copy of the safety policy, please let one of the staff members or kids team leaders know so they can connect you with that material. Now, with the stage set and my safety orange t-shirt on, let's dive in. I'm going to summarize our safety policy and procedures into 8 categories, which I like to call our 8 keys to success. The first key to success is one that you're already on, which is our process of careful volunteer selection. That simply means that we want to invest some time up front before we gather any kids together to make sure that we have the right people leading them. So the first step is just that we want to get to know you. We have a basic 6-month familiarity period where we want to know who you are and what you're about. The next step is to do a volunteer application, which you've already begun, which is how you found out about this video. The next step, some of our leaders want to review that application and do a quick reference check. After that, we'll run a criminal background check through national, state, and county databases. That's standard for all people that apply to be a volunteer with our kids program. After that is some safety training, like the video that we're doing now. This will help you have a basis for how you'll lead the kids under your care in Involved Kids Ministry. Then at some point during the process, you'll have an interview with a staff or a key leader prior to serving, just to ensure that you're all set to go and see if you have any questions. After that, we'll assign you to a role and get you started serving in our kids program. Our second key to success is adequate supervision. We just want to make sure that our kids are being led by the appropriate number of leaders. So the first major rule is that we have a 2-adult rule. At any time when the kids are in a ministry program, we want there to be 2 adults present. At every function or program involving children, youth, or disabled adults, including each classroom, vehicle, or other enclosed area. And 1 or more of the 2 adults must be 21 years of age or older. We also aim to maintain an adult-to-kid ratio in accordance with state student-teacher ratio requirements. In terms of how long volunteers will serve, we want them to arrive 10 minutes before their scheduled activity and remain there until all the kids under their care have been picked up by their appropriate guardians. And at all times, through all ministry programs, we want to make sure that we have line-of-sight external observation so that kids are not with adults alone behind closed doors or around corners where they can't be seen by others. Our third key to success is having secure borders. To accomplish this, our primary means is by use of an electronic check-in and check-out process. Every child should be checked in by an adult guardian for whom the church has emergency contact information. At check-in time, you'll be asked for information on your first visit, and then after that, it will all be in the system already. Children should not be checked in by themselves or by other non-adults. And every child should be checked out by an adult guardian using the encoded receipt that you receive during the check-in process. Throughout the ministry program, we want to maintain vigilance at all entries as well. So we'll have at least 1 volunteer worker to be stationed near the main entry to observe people entering the ministry area. Our fourth key to success is having appropriate physical contact. This one can be a difficult one because we want to show affection to the kids, but oftentimes the types of affection we're used to showing with people in our family or close friends is not appropriate for kids that we don't know as well or kids that are in our programs. We want to be careful that we use appropriate contact at all times, including, but not limited to, touching a child's hand, side, rather than frontal hugging, no touching of private body areas. Appropriate touching takes into account the situation and location. For example, a hug may be appropriate in public, but not in a private location in the church. If you have questions about this policy, please ask a staff member or key leader. One topic that often comes up is discipline. Physical discipline is never permitted within our children's ministry. Physical restraint should only be used when necessary to prevent physical harm to the child's self or others, and help should be sought out immediately if the situation persists. One area of physical touch that can be difficult is restroom visits. When we're taking kids to the restroom, we want to provide as much privacy as possible, like waiting outside the door for those kids that don't need assistance. And we also have a policy that only females should assist small children. Our fifth key to success is using appropriate transportation. Transportation needs to be limited from the church location to an activity location or from the activity back to the church. Home to church or church to home transportation is the responsibility of the parent or guardian. During transportation activities, only authorized drivers assigned by the church can provide transportation. Every driver is required to have been through the safety screening process, hold a current driver's license, and current proof of auto insurance. A permission slip for church transportation must be in possession of the driver for every child under their care. Slips may be kept on file with the church for up to 1 year. And the two-person rule also applies for transportation. It needs to be filed any time that we provide transportation during children's ministry activities. And there should also at least be 2 children in each vehicle at all times. So please plan your trips accordingly. Our 6th key to success is having good abuse awareness. There are many types of abuse that can be observed, and a lot of these are detailed with explanations in the safety policy, so I won't go into detail now. But just to give an overview, we want to remain aware of 4 main types of abuse: emotional abuse, sexual abuse, physical abuse, and neglect. Adults working with children should immediately report to the specific program supervisor any behavior that appears to be abusive or inappropriate. Any physical or mental injury and evidence on any child in their care must be reported as required by state and local laws. Our 7th key to success is appropriate reporting of abuse and injury observations. When you notice some abuse or injury, there are important things to consider. First of all, if a child reports abuse, number 1, you should believe the child first. Second, protect the child. And third, report the abuse and injury immediately. We need to report observed or communicated abuse promptly to the ministry leader. Do not discuss the abuse with the child. If the ministry leader deems it warranted, a report will be made to the local authorities. Do not contact parents or suspected individuals on your own. Lastly, fill out a notice of injury form, which you can get from a staff member or a key leader. Our 8th and final key to success is the appropriate handling of abuse allegations. 2 main rules apply when dealing with allegations. Number 1, we want to stay as confidential as possible with all the information involved. And second, we want to report appropriately. Maintaining confidentiality and privacy for both the alleged victim and the accused is highly important. When reporting, ministry leader in charge will document the entire process. Allegations should be reported as soon as possible to the lead pastor. Allegations should be reported as soon as possible to the insurance company. The accused will be relieved of duties until prompt investigation occurs. Parents of alleged victims shall be notified as soon as possible. If the accused is not an adult, his or her parents will be notified as soon as possible. Ultimately, when dealing with allegations in the church, we need to keep 2 things in mind. First, we want to support the alleged victim with as much love and care that is reasonably possible. And we also want to treat the accused with dignity, support, and Christian love. Let's keep these 2 things in mind until things get sorted out. Well, take a big deep breath. We made it. Now, I know a lot of that stuff is not fun to talk about, and especially to sit and listen to. So I thank you for committing your time to this process. We know that ensuring the protection, safety, and well-being of both kids and adults involved in this ministry will enhance the ability for us all to work together on connecting kids and their families with Jesus. We are so thankful for people like you to come alongside what God is doing in this ministry and seize the opportunity we have to involve kids in the life of Jesus and to involve Jesus in the lives of our kids.
Praise your name.